Welcome to Sleeknote's E-commerce Boost podcast, your chance to learn from the e-commerce experts so you can boost your business.
Hey you, today is a fantastic episode about Facebook marketing, and you'll get the most interesting tactics and strategies delivered by the CTO of Blitz Metrics, Dennis Yu. He shares what Facebook feature every business owner should know about, and he also talks about how you can target exactly the people you want to see your Facebook ads. Great stuff coming up, so let's dive in. Dennis, welcome so much on this show. I'm really excited to have you here.
Thanks, Julie.
Can you just start out by introducing yourself?
I'm the CTO of Blitz Metrics. Been doing this 10 years. Math guy. And we do a lot of Facebook ads and analytics, train up young adults in our programs, and our mission is to create jobs for young adults.
Cool. Now, Dennis, can you tell me something that your bio doesn't state?
I'm drinking a coconut water right now, and I probably drink 7 of them per day.
Why do you love coconut water so much?
It's so refreshing. I heard LeBron James was into it, and I tried it. Initially, I didn't like how it tasted, but now it's just very hydrating, and it makes my energy level higher because I don't drink enough water. You know, we all know we have to be drinking a ton of water, and it's got less sugar and bad things than sports drinks.
Interesting. Well, thanks for that tip. So today we'll be talking about Facebook marketing. So first of all, Dennis, what is the one question about Facebook marketing that you get the most?
How much should I spend on Facebook ads?
And what's the answer to that?
$1 per day is where you start. And a lot of people, they'll say, I tried Facebook ads and it didn't work. Well, that's like going to the gym and working out for 4 hours straight and then saying at the end, look, I don't have 6-pack abs. Clearly, this gym is a scam. Facebook is a great place to test and build community over time. And that means you've got to have lots of 1-minute videos and to be able to test against different audiences for $1 a day, to build relationships through the funnel, which is the stages of awareness, engagement, and conversion. And if you figure out how big your current audiences are, you can see how far your budget's going to go and how much revenue or conversion you're going to be able to generate. And we do this through what we call the 3x3 grid. The 3x3 grid is 9 pieces of content, 3 for awareness, 3 for engagement, and 3 for conversion. If we spend $1 a day on each of these, we'll be able to quickly figure out with little risk what's working and what isn't, and be able to pinpoint if Facebook's not converting for us. Is it because of something in the middle of the funnel? Is it because our landing page isn't good? Is it because we're targeting the wrong audience? And because people don't systematically set up the campaigns, they can't figure out what's working and what isn't, and therefore they can't answer the budget question either, as if you could just put in a magic number like $100 of ads, and then like a vending machine out pops $1,000 of revenue. It doesn't work like that. So people ask this question of how much should I spend on Facebook, which actually isn't the right question because it preassumes that there is the correct framework in place, your ad structure of campaigns that have combinations of content and targeting.
And what do you think they should be asking instead?
They should be asking, how do I model out my customer relationship into sequences of content and targeting? How do I do that by figuring out what's already working in my business, people in the store, what's working in email, what's working in search, what's working when I meet people at a conference? I need to model out why people buy from me as if I had 1,000 me's, right? If you had 1,000 of you that were all working for you, and you could send them out into the streets or send them out on the internet or send them out wherever, and they would have conversations armed with knowledge, just like you, and experience. What is it about those minions, shall we say, that would help them convert? You know that when you meet a potential customer that you'll be able to close them. What is it about the if-then sequences where they say this and you say that? What is it about who they are that causes you to respond in a certain way? What is it about the knowledge that you have that causes them to say, wow, I really need to go with these guys, or I really need to buy their product? In any situation, could be e-com, B2B, nonprofit, retail. What is it about that trust, that authority, that knowledge, that word of mouth that causes people to buy? The key with Facebook, which is relationship marketing at scale, is you want to encapsulate those micro moments that you already have, the authoritative pieces that cause people to buy. And when you do that, Facebook is an extension of what you're already doing. It's an amplifier, not a creator of what you already have.
Wow, that's really interesting. But I'm thinking, if I'm a business owner, I'm reluctant to invest a lot of time and money in Facebook marketing. How would you then convince me to start, give me the elevator speech?
Well, that preassumes the wrong question to begin with. No one needs to be convinced like a salesperson to be convinced. Rather, people need to be educated. And if you are selling products online through a shopping cart, let's say, and you have the mindset of e-commerce and you want people to buy, imagine if you take that into the real world, right? Probably this is the easiest way to help people understand Facebook marketing. Imagine, Julie, you and I were sitting at a table having dinner. And let's say you and I are good friends and we're talking about fun things that friends talk about. And a stranger comes up and says, hey, Julie, buy my stuff. We would both look at this person and say, who are you? Get the heck out of here. And that's what a lot of folks expect to happen in e-commerce, where you just walk up to people that don't know you, you've not developed a relationship, and you ask them to buy your stuff. And then you wonder why the conversion rate is low. And then you want to change what you say to these people in the same way that a pickup artist at a bar wants to change their pickup line to ask a girl to have sex with them or marry them on their first touch, the first time. So when we understand the etiquette that we already practice and we bring that into Facebook, everything changes, because then we understand that we can build those micro moments to develop that relationship over time with that user, because when they buy a product, they never actually buy the product. They're buying your why. They're buying into the fact that they have some other need that you are fulfilling via that product. And then it's a matter of sequencing those touches, the right touches for each particular user, which is where custom audience logic comes in. A lot of people don't realize that custom audiences is how you sequence people through a relationship, because it's based on what the last thing is they did with you. If they opened that last email, or if they didn't. If they watched your video for 10 seconds, or if they didn't. If they came to your website, if they added something to the shopping cart, but they didn't buy. Every one of those things is a touch where you can trigger the next action on what you say to them. And it's those combinations of actions, of if-then sequences. If they have bought something in the last year, but they have not in recently, then send them a 20% off loyal customer coupon. If they're on your email list, but they're not a fan of the page, then give them a reason to become a fan of the page. These are all pieces of logic, things that are inside your head on how you would normally respond to a user if there were a million of you, that we need to encapsulate in Facebook marketing. And then it's more about, how do I build relationships if I had infinite time? Because I can embody that conversational logic, not into a bot necessarily or into a Facebook ad, but into all of my marketing. And when people understand that, the light bulb goes off and they see that Facebook is an amplifier of what we already do. In the same way that email systems and autoresponder, landing pages, these are all ways of giving people lightweight touches to move them to the next stage in the relationship, which, depending on what your funnel looks like, could be 3 steps. The average is 7 steps to a conversion. But in B2B or in high dollar e-com where you have products over $1,000, maybe there's a lot of research. Maybe it's 20 steps, right? You've got to figure out how many steps, because if you think people buy in 1 step, There's some of those that are impulsive and they have higher income, but most people don't.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So it doesn't have to be necessarily have to be like a massive setup with loads and loads of different paths they can go down.
Well, those paths develop over time. You don't just sit down in one shot. Just like I said, you don't go to the gym and work out for 4 hours and have six-pack abs at the end of your session. You add logic over time. And that's what the $1 a day process is. I'm just going to test different things. And if it works, I'll keep it. If it doesn't, which is 90% of what happens, which is unfortunate, but you should get used to it, then you keep trying. And you keep collecting feedback, new pieces of content from existing customers, new video that you're making about your product, new video about news, about interviews with other people that are authoritative and entertaining, other things that are beyond just buy my stuff. And then that's when you start to develop relationship sequences. And that's where you unlock the power of Facebook ads, because you never drive that negative feedback, that jarring experience of someone coming up to you trying to sell their stuff when you're not ready, when you have not been warmed up, when you have not gone through that dating ritual of, first date, first kiss, all the steps up to marriage, for example, and having kids. We just need to break it down into more steps, because people are not going to jump over a 10-foot wall in one bound, not even Usain Bolt or some kind of Olympic athlete. But if you build steps, then people can easily walk up them. And that's what you're doing with building relationships.
Coming up, Dennis touches on the latest Facebook scandal, where the social network allegedly has shared millions of its users' data with third-party political consultancies. But for now, let's talk features. I asked Dennis what powerful Facebook technique that business owners should definitely know about. Here's his answer.
It's the one right under their nose, and it's when you boost a post in the timeline. A lot of business owners, they know that they can post things. They know that they can run ads. They know that you can do quizzes and messages and chat bots. They're in review right now. But what they don't realize is the most powerful feature is just to boost a post. And if you have, now there's the big if you have solid 1-minute videos that are not advertisements, that open up with something interesting and not the bumper, that are entertaining and educational, that tell a story, and then you hit that boost post button against the audience that you know will be engaged. It could be a custom audience, like people who've been to your website in the last 180 days. It could be against an interest target that you know if they like X, then they're more likely to buy your product. That's the magic, because Facebook has their algorithm, which is powered by something called OCPM, which is basically collaborative filtering lookalike audiences, where their system will figure out who is most likely to engage. So you could even target everyone on the planet, and it will find who's most likely to engage with that content. If you don't put good content there, then there's not much that the algorithm can do. You can't make chicken salad out of chicken shiitake. So if we have good content and we choose a generally good audience, maybe 100,000 of some kind of interest that we know is people who would buy our stuff, and we hit boost, then we let Facebook do the heavy lifting for us. And that's what most people miss, because they think they have to do all the targeting and all the optimization and understand databases and big data. No, you don't. You just need to set things up in the right way, put the right ingredients into the machine, and let Facebook do the work for you.
Wow, fantastic. And what does that great content typically looks like? What is a really good Facebook post or content?
The content that works for businesses is the same thing that works personally, because people go to Facebook to be entertained, to waste time, to see what their friends are doing. So when you make 1-minute videos that have to compete in the newsfeed with everyone else, because 80% of that traffic's in the newsfeed on mobile, then think about what these categories might be. It could be a why story. When I was 18, I dropped out of high school because I wanted to be a professional athlete. When I was So usually you open with when I was. When I was trying to get my first job, I got rejected at every single company that I applied at. But my mentor told me a few things that opened doors that I never realized. See, those are all good openers, and they lead to a story of something that happened. And that something that happened leads to some sort of understanding, some kind of realization or mission statement or lesson that ties to something that you stand for as a company, which ties into why you started your company, or why you have a certain product, or why your product embodies that belief, which naturally sequences into what your product is. So you can tell each of these stories in a 1-minute video, a 1-minute video for each story, a 1-minute video where you interview a customer and ask them about them, not about the product, a 1-minute video each for industry experts talking about a topic. You meet someone at a conference who's well known that your customers would respect. Maybe you interview them for 20 minutes and you cut out 1-minute snippets out of that interview. That's content that you put out there that's going to boost. And then you have 1-minute videos over things that you probably already do but don't have packaged properly. A 1-minute video about the price of your product and why it is. A 1-minute video about the features and benefits. A 1-minute video giving a tour of your office and how your products are being made and who your key people are. So it humanizes you. Lots and lots of 1-minute videos that you make with your iPhone, not with a professional TV camera crew with the movie theater budget, but you with an iPhone and maybe a ring light that you can get on Amazon for $15 so you have proper lighting. Maybe a lav mic you can get on Amazon for $15 as well, just so you have good sound. And that's all it takes. If you have something that's overproduced, it looks like a commercial. If you're trying to interview customers and employees and partners and you have a TV camera with all these external lights, that's really kind of scary. Professional folks will know how to handle that, but average consumers freak out when they see that big camera come out. But you pull out an iPhone and you talk to them. Hold that phone while you're talking to them in a regular conversation, the regular tone. Then you get that authentic experience, and that's what's going to resonate when you capture those and edit them properly and put them out there on Facebook. We have many VAs in the Philippines that are editing 1-minute videos, that are adding captions, that are adding text effects, cleaning up the sound, adding lower thirds, After Effects, all making $3 an hour. Some make $10 an hour if they're senior and they advance through our levels. And that's how we have been growing our business and other businesses, is through these 1-minute videos, where these videos are central to what we do. They're not an afterthought. They're not something we just hire an agency to do. They're something that we have realized as you, that if you want to succeed on Facebook, you must be making video central to what you do, central to your team members, to your marketing, to how you tell your stories, to the analysis that you do on your business performance. You need to make analyzing video a key thing that you do. You need to create your content primarily around video. Video first, in the same way that people have been talking about landing pages being mobile first or search being mobile first. On Facebook, you need to be video first. And when that switch happens and you start to develop competency and you build internal expertise around video, then you become a social company. Not because you changed your logo, not because you have someone posting on Facebook and Twitter X number of times per day, but because you've learned to tell stories using video with in-house staff.
That's fantastic. Really interesting. So before we end, Dennis, I know you have some really interesting points regarding the recent Facebook fiasco, where Facebook allegedly shared 50 million users' data with a third-party political consultancy. What's your view on this?
Almost everything you hear about this is completely false and wrong. The media doesn't understand the technicalities behind Cambridge Analytica, the app platform, the Graph API v2, and the data infrastructure behind Facebook. They don't understand, so it's easy to manipulate the media. It's easy for a Cambridge Analytica or SCL group to be able to claim that they're doing all this magic, fancy election manipulating campaign stuff. because who's going to call them on it? Only people like us who actually are engineers and actually work with the data. Because we know that Facebook's algorithm is where the power is. It's not in these Russian spies that are working in a back room and doing all this crazy data mining to do targeting and building models of scaring people. No, the algorithm already does that. And any of us with $1 a day and 1-minute videos have the same tools at our hands. We don't need special expertise. We lean on the algorithm to do the work for us. And when we realize that, then we see that really Cambridge Analytica and related companies are just PR firms. They're there to scare and manipulate opinion. There is no science behind what they're saying. The whole I've got 50 million user profiles. There's nothing they could do with those profiles because you can't upload them in Facebook as custom audiences. And it's been that way for years. And all the people that understand data, we laugh at this situation because we know that when Facebook moved to V2 of the Graph API with app scoped permissions, only the app itself, in fact, it was a quiz app that they bought that data from, only the app itself could use those custom audiences. And even if they did, the quiz questions wouldn't be enough, wouldn't be as powerful as just doing basic interest targeting and using OCPM. So it wouldn't matter anyway.
What? So it's actually impossible for like a third-party app to purchase data and then use that to target those profiles?
You can purchase data from somewhere else, but you're not going to get that level of data from Facebook. You can collect email addresses, I suppose, if you build an app. Because when you, as a consumer, install someone's app and it says, hey, you need to install this app was not made by Facebook. Oh, this app would like to have your email address. And most people click, okay, you can have my email address. Oh, it'd also like to have your phone number. It'd like to know what your friends are doing. It'd also like to have these different things. And those things are called extended permissions. So if you give those things to an app, then yeah, that app has those things, but they're not allowed to share that with other people. And unless they have an email address, there's no way that those could be uploaded as custom audiences, and there's no way that someone could message someone based on that. So I don't think Cambridge Analytica got email addresses from those apps. But even if they did, their match rate would be so low, and their ability to target based on who used that app doesn't give them any kind of advantage.
Interesting. Wow. Well, that's really food for thought, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So finally, before we end, Dennis, I really want to know if you have a personal hero. Is there anyone you look up to in the marketing industry or in any other industry?
Oh, man, I got to think about that one for a second. I don't follow marketers.
Who do you follow?
I like science fiction because I believe that is where science fiction is half science and half fiction if you do it the right way. And I will read Ray Kurzweil and Isaac Asimov and I forgot the name of the author of Snow Crash, Neil Stephenson, right? Because, for example, books like Snow Crash tell you what the future is going to look like in a few years. You have entrepreneurs who deal with what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years. And you have people that write science fiction that deal with what's going to happen in the next 10 to 20 years. So I think of science fiction, the good science fiction writers, as entrepreneurs that are just too early because they end up just writing. So a lot of the things that I've read about in science fiction have come to pass. And it's been a huge competitive advantage for me to always be thinking ahead of what's going to happen and how do we deal with these circumstances? How do we build products around problems that people don't realize are going to happen because of a speaker in your home, like an Alexa, that you can order things, because of bots that you can program to talk to other bots, because of mobile apps that you're going to be using on your iPhone in a certain way, because there's virtual currency that people are using in different games to do Farmville and Bejeweled Blitz and how people are being taken into gamification, because there's a third-party workforce that is making money part-time by driving in their cars and renting out spare bedrooms. All of these things we knew about a long time ago, and we already knew what the issues would be. We knew how to target. We knew how these things would be named. And by reading science fiction, the right science fiction, we can start to think about those issues before they become reality and have a step ahead of marketing. See, marketing tends to be short-sighted. It's how do I make money right now? Science fiction is what are the larger strategic issues that humanity is going to struggle with, where there's fodder for lots of businesses that don't exist and maybe won't be viable for a few years, but you can be building towards them when they are ready.
Right. So reading science fiction will actually give you a business advantage. Fantastic news. Right. So Dennis, thank you so much for your time. Really, really interesting input.
Thank you, Julie.
All right, that was it for e-commerce boost, not only this week, but for good, or rather for now. Don't get upset though, because there's loads more e-commerce insights for you from Sleeknote. First of all, you could go back and listen to the e-commerce boost episodes you haven't heard already. Otherwise, check out our YouTube channel where we upload new videos with marketing tactics each week. Or go to our blog, sleeknote.com/blog. If you don't know where to start there, I'd recommend you to read our case study on Harry's, where we spent a month reverse engineering their company so you can boost your conversions and up your engagement. Not bad, huh? Yet again, it's sleeknote.com/blog. Thanks for listening.
This session of E-Commerce Boost was produced by Sleeknote. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on tactics and strategies that'll help boost your e-commerce.